Did you think that communism all but ended with the end of the Cold War, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the reunification of Germany? No, my dear viewer, I'm afraid that's just wishful thinking on your part. Now I know it doesn't explicitly say up there that these students are communists, but it does explicitly say that they're pro-Antifa, and as I explained in my Charlottesville video, Antifa are communists, specifically anarcho-communists. Pro-Antifa students give the finger to victims of communism. The president of the Clemson University chapter of the far-left Students for a Democratic Society group recently posed for a social media photo waving an Antifa flag in front of the Victims of Communism Memorial. Yes, and she wasn't standing waving the flag with the memorial behind her either, she was facing the memorial, waving the flag at it, as you'll see later. Other posts show multiple middle fingers being raised toward the monument, which is something else I'll show you later, presenting a revealing look at the sentiments that SDS members continue to hold. Indeed, those sentiments evidently being complete disdain for those who died under communism. I don't know about you, but I can only think of one type of person who would have disdain for those who died under communism. And that's a communist. Antifa supporting students from Clemson University recently expressed their political sentiments by openly mocking the Victims of Communism Memorial on social media. Of course, because they don't care. They don't care that over 100 million people died under communism. They want communism in the USA. Victims of Communism Memorial, 2017, and hashtag new profile pic, Clemson Students for a Democratic Society, SDS. President Dawn Livesey captioned a photo, via Facebook and Twitter respectively, waving an Antifa flag in front of the memorial. And here is that picture. As you can see, she's facing towards the monument, waving the flag of violent anarcho-communist group Antifa at it. Responding to the photo on both platforms, Livesey wrote, "This is the Victims of Communism Memorial, by the way, laughing my ass off," explaining that the Antifa flag was borrowed from folks who were at the Juggalo March for this hilarious purpose. Hilarious. She thinks it's hilarious to piss on the graves of over 100 million people. What the fuck is wrong with this woman? Has she got antisocial personality disorder or something? Additionally, Livesey posted a photo of several unknown individuals giving the middle finger to the memorial, which is dedicated to the more than 100 million victims of communism around the world and to the freedom of those still living under totalitarian regimes. And here's that one. You just look at this photo and take it in whilst I read that last bit again. This monument, that they're giving the middle fingers to, is dedicated to the more than 100 million victims of communism around the world and to the freedom of those still living under totalitarian regimes. According to the Victims of Communism, VOC, website, the memorial was authorized by a unanimous act of Congress, which was signed by President Bill Clinton on December 17, 1993. The memorial is privately funded, and was dedicated by President George W. Bush in June of 2007. From the famines, purges, and gulags of Soviet Russia to Mao's Great Leap Forward and the killing fields of the Khmer Rouge, from the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre to the Castro regime's 2012 murder of Oswaldo Paya, communists have killed more than 100 million people, the VOC proclaims. And these people find that funny. Let's be clear here. We're not talking about some bunch of 9 or 10-year-olds who don't know any better and are just doing it for a laugh. These are college students. They're fully grown or almost fully grown young adults. They knew exactly what they were doing. Clemson SDS's constitution describes itself as a radical, multi-issue student and youth organization working to build power in our schools and communities, adding that the group is committed to provide a focal point for anti-war activism on campus, and to empower our community against economic injustice. I wouldn't trust a bunch of communists to define what is and isn't economically just, would you? Sexism, racism, heterosexism. Whatever that is, I think they might have made it up. And any other injustice towards marginalized groups. Well, I would have said that the people who died under communist regimes were pretty marginalized. It doesn't get much more marginal than being dead after all, but you saw what these SDS folks think of them. If you really are with the movement, Pick up your fucking arms and protect people, Livesey declared in one Facebook post. Protect them from what exactly? Honestly, talk about paranoid. This woman sounds like she's got a screw loose. No politician is ever gonna look out for us. We look out for us. Fuck your law and order. We keep us safe. You see, I said earlier that Antifa, and by extension the SDS who openly support them, are anarcho-communists, didn't I? Anyway, the story goes off on a tangent now, so I'm going to skip to the last paragraph. Campus Reform reached out to Livesey regarding the Victims of Communism Memorial protest, who responded by saying, "Ask nicely next time I go on a trip and I'll mail you a postcard," and then appending the entire text of the B-movie script. Of course she did, because that's how a mature and respectful young adult responds to such a request, isn't it? And what's with the B-movie script? Is that supposed to be some sort of advert for communism or anti-capitalism statement because the bee in the film sues the human race for taking bees' honey and selling it for profit? If so, it's a pretty lame one considering who made the film. You know, all in all, I think the SDS should change their name. It's supposed to stand for Students for a Democratic Society, but they don't want a democratic society, they want communism. So instead of calling themselves Students for a Democratic Society, how about they call themselves Students for a Totalitarian Dictatorship instead? That's much more appropriate, in more ways than one. Or how about this one? How about Students for the Overthrow of Capitalism and the Immediate Overt Promotion of an Authoritarian Totalitarian Hegemonic System? Perfect.